There is no other religion or philosophy that has such a high view of the value and significance of the material realm. Nothing like it anywhere. So the early church faced the same notion that the body has no particular value or dignity. In fact, the Gnosticism actually taught it was a lower level deity, an evil god. Gnosticism taught that there were several levels of spiritual beings, and it was the lowest level, who was an evil god who created this world, because after all, no self-respecting god would get his hands dirty mucking about with matter. So Christianity in this context was nothing short of revolutionary, because it taught, first of all, that creation was not by an evil God. It was by the supreme God, who was a good God. And therefore, creation is intrinsically good. And even though we accept the idea of the fall, it does not totally negate its original goodness. It's kind of like when a child defaces a great masterpiece, artistic masterpiece. You can still see the beauty of the original masterpiece coming through. But the greatest scandal in the ancient world was the incarnation, because that was the idea that that same supreme deity had actually entered into the physical world and taken on a physical body, so that the incarnation was the ultimate validation of the dignity of the human body. And then when you might say Jesus did escape the physical realm, as Gnosticism taught we should aspire to do, when he was executed on a Roman cross. But what did he do then? He came back in a physical body. To the ancient Greeks, this was not spiritual progress. Their response to the resurrection was, who would want to come back to the realm of the body? As Paul puts it, the idea of the physical resurrection was utter foolishness to the Greeks. That's how he puts it of course, at the end of time, Christians tend to think, end of time, we're floating around in an immaterial spiritual realm. No, that's not what the Bible teaches. It teaches that God is going to recreate, a new heavens and a new earth, and we will be on that new earth in physical bodies. All the way back to the beginning, the Apostles' Creed has affirmed the resurrection of the body. So this, I try to tell people, like when I speak to audiences, I try to get them to understand the treasure that we have here. This is an extraordinarily high view of the physical realm. There is no other religion or philosophy that has such a high view of the value and significance of the material realm. Nothing like it anywhere. We should be so excited that when we talk to people, we're just overflowing with the joy of having such a wonderful message to give them. Francis Schaeffer used to say the biblical worldview doesn't start with Jesus died for your sins. It starts with, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, because the creation itself tells us of the beauty and dignity of this world. And so we need to start with that as our message.
I think just as a clarification, I think it's so powerful, and I don't want it to pass people by, of the historic Christian position as being very affirming of the physical body, being affirming of an integrated human person, body, soul, and spirit. I don't know, like you said, if we have a deep enough appreciation for that position. And sometimes we inadvertently buy into this bifurcation between the physical body and what our culture calls like the most authentic part of ourself is our emotions and how we feel about things. Maybe we could talk a little bit more about how you see that playing out. And then I want to get into, the redeeming message of historic Christianity and how it answers some of these questions about transgenderism.
So let's shift maybe to homosexuality and use that as our next example, because it's the same thing. It's just, like Elisa said at the beginning, it's a common worldview connecting all of them. Let me put it this way. Even when I talk to my homosexual friends, they will agree that on the level of biology, physiology, chromosomes, anatomy, males and females are counterparts to one another. That's how the human sexual and reproductive system is designed. To embrace a same-sex identity, therefore, is to implicitly contradict that design. It's to say, why should my body have any say in my identity? Why should my body inform my moral choices? Why should my biological sex have any say in who I am, in my authentic identity? And what we have to help people to see is that's a profoundly disrespectful view of the body. Essentially, it's saying that my body has nothing to do with who I am. It's very close to the transgender idea in that, you're not going to go into surgery and chop off body parts, but you are still saying that my body has nothing to do with who I am. Let me give you an example, because there's a well-known public intellectual who expresses this so well. Her name is Camille Paglia. You all may know her.
Yes.
Yeah, Elisa's nodding. A lot of Christians read her work, even though she's a lesbian. By the way, Elisa, did you know she's now claiming to be trans? For many years, she was.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she definitely does now. But for many years, she claimed to be lesbian. Either way, but she's interesting because she's a little bit of an iconoclastic feminist because she does not accept that sex is just a social construction. She says, no. Nature made us male and female. Humans are a sexually reproducing species. So you say to her, well, then how do you justify being a lesbian or now trans? And these are her exact words. Okay, so nature made us male and female, but then she says, quote, why not defy nature? Why not defy nature? And then she goes on to say, quote, fate, not God, has given us this flesh. We have absolute claim to our bodies and may do with them as we see fit. So do you see the logic there? The logic is that if our bodies are products of mindless, purposeless forces, then they have no intrinsic purpose that we're morally obligated to respect. They give us no clue to our identity. They give us no roadmap to our morality. We may do with them as we see fit. So really, it comes down to your view of nature. Your body is part of nature. And so it turns out that your ethic ultimately depends on your view of nature. So Camille Paglia is saying if the body is a product of mindless, purposeless forces, then they have nothing to say to us in terms of our morality. Whereas a Christian worldview says, wait a minute, nature itself exhibits a plan, a design, an order, a purpose. Science tells us that on a very simple level, eyes are made for seeing, ears are made for hearing, fins are made for swimming, and wings are made for flying. And the total development of the organism is directed by an inbuilt plan or blueprint. So science itself tells us that nature is built according to a design. And so what Christians are saying is that when we live in accord with that design, we will be happier and healthier.